Hi, I'm Troy Rudeseal. You might recognize me from The Black Phone, and you are watching Roger and SlasherPepper.
How are you?
I'm excellent. I hope you are.
Awesome. Doing so good.
What time is it there? You're in the Netherlands, correct?
Yes, it's 8:05 p.m. right now.
Okay.
Right. What about there?
I'm on the East Coast of North Carolina. So Wilmington, North Carolina. It's 2 o'clock.
Right. Right. Nice. Awesome. Well, good afternoon to you. And I was wondering, do you have any new projects coming up?
I don't have anything that I can talk about right now, just sort of auditioning. And for those who don't know, this is what auditioning looks like. This is 1 month worth of auditions. So it's all about just, getting these things in. If you've got a good agent, sifting through them, trying to, analyze text and audition, and then hope that something sticks. And so I've got a few projects out there, but nothing that I can really talk about.
Awesome. Well, glad we got a pretty good visual idea now of what auditioning looks like. Looks like you're putting in the work. And I was curious about a previous project. You're all ready for it with the Halloween Kills poster in the background.
Yeah.
What do you remember most from being on that set?
My time was fairly short. It was really memorable and I had a great time. But I was there for about 2 weeks and really only shot a couple of days. I was on hold. So I was around, but not shooting. So I played one of the paramedics that pulls Lori off the truck when she's injured and going into the hospital. So what I remember most about that was that Jamie Lee Curtis was really amazing. She was incredibly friendly and just as magnanimous as you would expect her to be.
Right.
I had to sit there with my bloody hands pressed into her abdomen for 4 or 5 hours, and but she was really gracious and very nice. And we did the first day we filmed all exteriors where they had rigged up a local community college to be the outside, the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And so we did all the scenes of pulling her off the truck and rushing in. And then the next week we went on the soundstage where they had built an entire hospital on the soundstage, which was, everything was incredible. You walk through the doors, sort of the reverse of coming from outside. And then we were going through lobbies and going through waiting rooms, and they had surgical suites and ORs and rooms and morgues, and the whole hospital was laid out inside this soundstage. It was really incredible. They actually had built it for Swamp Thing, the series, and they held on to it and redressed it.
Oh, nice. That's cool. And what was it like working with Jamie? Like, for example, the first day, were you nervous or a bit starstruck, or was it actually like pretty laid back?
It was very laid back. And actually my first day on set was her first day on set. She had just come on.
Right.
So everybody was incredibly excited. Everybody was cheering and cheering her to be there. And, she had the 2018 reboot was sort of a rebirth of this whole series with David Gordon Green, and so everybody was excited. They were all glad to be back together because they had just filmed the year before on that one, and so it was a very happy set to be on.
Right, very welcoming. Yeah. I can imagine.
Absolutely.
Nice. Awesome. And also Blumhouse related, the Black Phone. What was it like being on that set?
This, interestingly enough, I've lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, which has a pretty rich film history. Dino De Laurentiis built his studio here. Firestarter in the 80s with Drew Barrymore was the beginning. He came and was scouting locations and built this really large studio, which was at the time Dino De Laurentiis, or DEG Studios, and since has turned over to Screen Gems now. But there's a very rich film history in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I moved here for the arts and theater and film in 1995. And so I've been here for over 20 years, moved briefly to Atlanta for several years and had just come back. So I actually booked the Black Phone from Atlanta while I was living there and came home to film. So I was here for about 5 weeks, and we had had a great time. I think we had as many days, the Detective Wright, E. Roger Mitchell, and I had almost as many days as anyone else on the film. So we, we're in a lot of scenes kind of peppered throughout the film. But I think Madeleine McGraw was the only one that had more actual shoot days than we did. So I think we were kind of in enough scenes throughout that we ended up spending a lot of time. I think we had 13 days of shooting out of a 31-day shoot, I believe.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So typically we shot for like a week and a half, and then we left for about 2 weeks, and then we came back and did another kind of 2-week run because Mason, Finney, and Ethan Hawke, who plays a grabber, they obviously all of their stuff was together, so they shot their whole block kind of in the middle, and we sort of ended all of the scenes before and after.
Nice. Must have been a pretty cool experience too.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously we didn't, if you've seen film, we didn't get to have any kind of work with Ethan other than meeting him. I think his first day on set, we were getting ready to go on break, and he was coming in for his first scene, which happened to be the abduction at the van of Finney.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was in his full like white clown makeup, and we met briefly in the makeup trailer and got to say hello, and he got to talk to us and say hi. But that was our only interaction with Ethan.
Right. It's funny how that works sometimes with like scheduling and stuff. What would you prefer if we got a Black Phone 2? Would you prefer it to be a prequel or a sequel?
That's really interesting, because as soon as they started the buzz about having a sequel, I don't know. I can picture in my head some kind of weird scenario where the grabber's ghost comes back and starts messing or taunting with Finney and Madeleine, because they already had this kind of supernatural connection ability, that I could see some kind of a haunting kind of piece would be like wild.
Right.
But I know that the writer, that Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, wrote the source material, that the short story that it was pulled from. And I know that he already said, I think, that he had some ideas for a sequel.
Yeah, it will be pretty interesting to see what they could pull off next.
Yeah, I'm dying to see.
Right. And here's a bit of a random question: if you ruled the world, what would it look like?
What would it look like? I don't know. It would be some kind of cross of like an ideal sort of Star Trek future. Right. I'm a big Trekkie. So like that idea that money and strife has all sort of gone away, and we all have the tasks that we are most suited for, and then everything just runs smoothly. I love that idea. I don't know that we'll ever reach that, but I think some kind of like idyllic Star Trek future would be kind of my idea of the world.
Right.
I mean, I would love to, we're in the United States, so medicine is a mess here. And I'm big in the sort of the idea of socialized. I hope we get there someday. I'm actually an intensive care nurse and have been for going on 20 years. It is sort of the ultimate actor survival job because it provides a ton of flexibility, but is also really, really good profession. And I really enjoy it. But I see all the sort of struggles of medicine. So I think any kind of world where we could alleviate suffering and provide better care, to our people would be the kind of world that I would want to create. Nice.
Well, you should take charge.
I'm not ready.
Here's a bit of since we're on a positive note about what we would like the world to look like. What is your biggest pet peeve?
People who don't put the shopping carts back.
You were ready for that one.
You know what? So I have a couple of children. I have a boy and a girl. They're 13 and almost 15. Sweet. And at one point in doling out life lessons like you do as a father, I told them that really there's one litmus test that you can decide if a person is somebody you want to associate with or not. that there are people who put the cart back and there are people who don't put the cart back, and that if they don't put the cart back, you don't need to know anything more about them. Just walk away.
Disqualified.
That's it. You're out.
Nice. And then your final question: if your life was a movie, how would you want it to end?
How would I want it to end? I would like to see I don't know, man. That's a tough question. I would like, well, I mean, I like happy endings. I don't want to die in the end of my own movie.
Right.
But obviously that's for everybody.
Right.
Eventually, we're all going to die at the end of our film. I guess I would like to see that the people that I have known and interacted with are happy and successful. You know, like, I mean, I'm over 50 now, and you start to think about those things, like, you know, your legacy and where you're going. And I'd like to know that the people I have affected, I've had a positive effect on, and
Right.
that I've left the world a better place.
Yeah.
And it's going on without me in a better way.
Nice. Sweet. Is there anything you would like to add to the interview?
I thank you for having me. One,
You're so welcome.
I haven't done a whole lot of these things, and probably the Black Phone is one of the more higher profile kinds of things I've done. I've been plugging away at this for 30 plus years. Started off in the theater, big lover of the theater, and that was my first passion. And in the last 10 years or so, I started doing more film and television, and I really love it. And but I don't do a whole lot of this. But anybody who does, I say just keep plugging away at it. You know, take classes, do theater, do film, do student film, and if you love it, do it. There's a place for everybody.
Awesome. Sweet. I hope to see you in the future in some more projects then.
Absolutely. Roger, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for your time.